Well, guys, welcome back to Yoast. So, as you can tell by the title in the video, we are back to working on the EG. You see it up there on the lift. And in tonight's video, what I specifically wanted to show you is the installation of trailing arm bushings. And we have two different options here. So this is the standard polyurethane replacement, and this is the spherical version. You see right there. Most cars will never need this full race application spherical. You will be good with just using the polyurethane energy suspension inserts. I have both, as you can see, on the EG right here. Because we are going to put a turbo GSR in it, I'm going to go with the more race, more all-out spherical version. These bushings, there's hundreds of videos on YouTube on how to install these, burning out your old bushings, taking the old center pin, sliding it through here, greasing it up, kind of very more involved than installing these. So even though these are, I guess we would say, more race, these are actually much easier to install, which is kind of funny. This set right here is a unbranded set from eBay. They're $120. They are rather stiff. Like when I say stiff, like this doesn't move. I'm not a weak person, but this doesn't move at all. And you can see it's literally a full piece of billet. The centerpiece in here has a C-clip in it, and it's stuck in there pretty well. But if you guys can see, actually, I'll flip you guys around here and show you what I've been doing. So if you guys can see right here, we have the rear trailing arms off of the EG. What I did was I took a sander and a grinder and ground all the dirt, nasty, filler, everything off of these arms. Cleaned them up, painted them pewter gray. The paint colors I'm going to go with on this car are going to be like a dark gray, light gray for all the suspension components. If you guys paid attention in the last video at the end, I talked about I'm going to be going much more in depth on building this car. Well, here's the start of it. We're going to completely redo all the bushings in the rear suspension. I have the control arms out. I have everything apart in the rear suspension of the car. I'm going to replace all the bushings, put the full race sphericals in here, and it's still going to be drum brakes. I found that the e-brake cable wasn't even hooked up, which is why our e-brake didn't work, which I probably haven't mentioned in the video. And then I also found out that some of these bolts on these rear arms were actually cut off, where if you guys had factory arms that had never been modified, there would actually be a nut on the back side of here, kind of like this right here. But to get to this process, it's basically just unbolting everything, a lot of cleaning, and like I said, there's been tons of videos online of doing this process already. So at this point, you have clean backing plates. The wheel bearings in this car are really good. Brand new brakes, or slaves, or master, whatever you want to call this. A little master slave cylinder for the drums. The drums themselves are over here, completely sanded down. They're high heat ceramic coated and flat black. Like I said, all the suspension on this car is going to be a dark gray, light gray, and flat black. So I have all the braking stuff, which once I get these bushings in, I can get these trail arms back on the car. We're waiting for these newer front control arms, or toe arms, or whatever you want to call them, caster arms. These on the car are already good, and the lower control arms, as you see right here, completely all taken apart. I took all the bushings and bearings out. I can come over here and show you why I did that. Because if you guys look at these bushings, yeah, there's no bushing left. This was where the strut actually connected to that control arm. This was on the other side. There's no bushing left. You can see all of them are really degraded. So I ordered a set of energy suspension bushings. And then this is what we have right now. You have your coilover, your camber arm, your e-brake cable, and your brake line. So now let me get to showing you how to actually put that trailing arm bushing in the car, and then we'll get to installing it. So step number one, if you order these eBay ones, you actually need to enlarge the holes. The holes they drilled in them do not fit the factory bolts over there. And then you'll need an assistant, a hammer, or an assistant dog. He isn't very happy to be out here in the shop. It's kind of cold out here today. And yeah, let's get to getting this in that hole. Alright guys, so you basically just set your bushing down in there. As you can see, this side is chamfered so that it slides down in, and then here's the surface that your bushing is going to set against. And then literally you just and then once you hear it like that, you can tell it's not going to move anymore. And that's it. You don't have to do all that burning of the old bushings or anything like that. These are actually pretty simple to install. Like I said, besides having to drill out that hole, now you can throw it back in the car as you took the old ones out. It's literally 2 bolts right here, your camber bolt up here, your front caster bolt over here, and then your lower control arm right here. This car had different bolts in every hole, so none of them were the same. But let me set the camera up over here. And another thing I did is you see the wood and the paper filter right here, just so I didn't mess up the threads on the wheel bearing or mess up my paint. So now let's get into the car and see how she looks. Alright guys, now time to struggle with these because I'm going to do this by myself. And when I jacked the car up, I kind of put the lift point in the way for the front bolt. So, like I said, you pick up this heavy thing. As you see, I don't have the brakes loaded into it because you have to actually slide your e-brake cable through the hole right here, which whoever owned this car last didn't have that bolt in there. So what I'm going to do to make this a little easier on myself is slide this up here and then put the camber bolt through the arm so it just holds it in place. Then once you have that up there holding it in place, this thing does have strung 2 camber bolts on it, so they're pretty good. They're actually really stiff. These bolts are a pain, but I looked it up on Honda Tech. You're supposed to torque them down to 47 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna get them in there, get it started. I have the torque wrench over there ready, but I also have the electric ratchet wrench to help me get these going. But they're not too bad once you have everything out and clean. You guys might notice the back of the car looks really clean underneath. I did, let me flip you around. I did pressure wash the whole underneath of the car. See if it'll focus. And then I undercoated the whole back of the car. You see my Yoast built on the subframe base right there. This is, like I said, just a regular little $80 aluminum brace. If you guys have never installed one of these before, I don't know if I mentioned it in one of the older videos, but you put the subframe bolt through so everything lines up. And then there's actually a metal bracket that goes inside of here that I've seen a ton of people never put on. And that's what actually sandwiches the back of the frame rail together and gives you the actual added strength. So now let me tighten these bolts down, torque them down, and then I'll get back to you so we can talk about what's next on the rear suspension. We have the torque wrench, 47 foot-pounds. We got the bolts up in there. I wouldn't really say all the way snug down, but they're in there pretty well. Alright, so that one is good. I'll flip around here and see if we can even get to this. I might have to use an extension or something. Let me see where my extension went. So I know adding an extension doesn't make the torque spec proper, but most proper we're going to get with what we have because of the arm in the way. So now it's torqued. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried to move the suspension arm on a Civic, but this thing is nice and stiff. And that is, like I said, so that is all the parts we have for the EG's rear suspension at this time. You guys have probably seen many other YouTubers stick the lower control arms and everything back on the car. So I'm not going to bore you with that. But I just wanted to show you those bushing installs because I looked it up and I didn't see anybody else that made a video on it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys are ready. Like I said, we're going a little more in depth on this car than we did on any of the other ones so far, and replacing pretty much everything. Now I can stick the drum brakes back together, stick the e-brake cables in, put it all back together, put the brake lines back on, and then we can start working our way towards the front suspension. That'll be in the next video. As always, if you guys haven't subscribed to Yoast Built, hit the little icon below. Hope you guys liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you're ready to see more race car EG stuff. And until the next one, you guys are the great. Bonus clip. So brakes are all back together. Before I took this apart, you literally had to put a lot of pressure to spin this. You can hear that one spins, or see that one spins easy. Look at that. So we know the back of the car has very little no rolling resistance. Brake lines attached. Let's see, it's dark under there, but you're not going to see it. But look, pick this up, and you can see just how stiff that is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Wow, this thing does not focus good.